and welcome to the Love Letters from Lakyn podcast. This is your host speaking, Lakyn Olmstead. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. First episode, I'm so excited. I have a long list of things we need to ask each other. You know, this is our first date. We have to get to know each other a little bit. So before we get into all that, I want to say I just came from the doctor's office. And, you know, when you think of the doctor's office, I always think of being poked and prodded by needles just all morning long. And that's exactly what happened. And it really ruined my mood. But I thought, okay, we're going to channel all this energy into the podcast today. We're just going to get it off my chest. So I go into the doctor's office and it's just like an annual checkup. But then she's like, oh, hey, by the way, you're low in vitamin C, vitamin D. You're also still iron deficient. And like, I've always been iron deficient. But the fact that I'm low in like every single vitamin possible, I don't know, it was just so, I was so tired and I was hungry and I hadn't had like lunch yet. And I was there for an hour and a half because, you know, whenever they decide to do lab tests, you have to go into the lab and do blood work. And she was like, okay, we're going to test you on this. Also, we need to do some vaccines and like, whatever. It was a whole thing. But we're over it and we're back now and I got Urban Grounds. Today I got the banana bread latte, but I got it matcha version. This was Hannah Hick's recommendation. I love it. I love banana, so if you don't like banana, maybe don't go for this one. But this is so good. It's so refreshing. Here's some ice ASMR. And then for lunch, I got the hummus wrap, but I added turkey. So good. I mean, anything you get from there, incredible. That's my favorite place to go. If you're local to Springfield or like Ozark, Missouri area, definitely go to Urban Grounds. It's my favorite place in the entire world. So, all right, guys. This is so exciting. All right, so first of all, that little tune you heard in the beginning of the pod, the little intro theme song. So, my best friend Kennedy, her producer Anson, he lives in Nashville, and so does she. She asked him if he would make a little intro theme for me, and he so kindly said yes and agreed to do it. So what's funny is that we had to give him inspo, right? And I was like, oh my God, like I'm not good at this stuff. I don't know anything about the world of producing or anything about the world of like music production, really. So Kennedy's like, well, I was thinking kind of like Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter vibes, but instrumental. And I was like, oh yeah, like that's really good. And I was like, wait, you know what? Can you just tell him like glitter gel pen? And so he sends me the like 5-second demo or like the 10-second demo. And he's like, hope this is glitter gel pen enough for you. I think he succeeded. I really think he delivered. I think he ate with that. If you don't know what I mean by glitter gel pen, let me just give you a little background. So I'm a Swiftie. I'm a huge Swiftie. If you know Taylor Swift and her whole fandom and all her fans, you know that we refer to songs as Bejeweled, Message in a Bottle, I don't know, anything that sounds like sparkly, we refer to them as glitter gel pen songs. Like she wrote those songs with a glitter gel pen. Are you picking up the vibe? I think so. And then I think we call her Allison whenever she's writing like really sad songs. We're like, put down the pen, Allison, something like that, because that's her middle name. So I just thought I'd give you guys some background on that. That's where my inspo came from for the intro song. So I think he succeeded really well. Thank you so much, Anson. Shout out to Anson. Also, thank you to Kennedy for doing all my graphics and my logo and the podcast cover and everything. I couldn't have done this without you guys. Same Grace. Grace, if you're listening to this, thank you for taking my photos. Grace took the cover photo. It's beautiful. Kennedy edited it. All that good stuff. Okay, so before we get into good stuff, also known as my lore, I wanted to do my own version of a weekly report. I'm sure you guys have heard the report that's like, what is it? It's like reading, eating, obsessing, something like that. I don't know. But I thought I'd do my own version of it, so let's get into that. I changed a few of the prompts to my own words that I thought were appropriate for this podcast. So the first letter in report is R. We're going to do releasing. And this could mean two different things. Okay, so this could mean, okay, what's an emotion or a feeling I'm releasing? Or it's going to be music that's releasing this week or books that are releasing this week or sometime in the near future. So releasing. I'm super excited for this one today because I feel like there was so much good stuff coming out that was like perfect to talk about in this episode. So first thing, Gracie Abrams, okay? If you don't know who Gracie Abrams is, she's a singer-songwriter. And her father is J.J. Abrams. She's a Nepo baby. He did the newer Star Wars movies, whatever. So Gracie Abrams, she is one of my favorite artists. She opened for Taylor Swift at the Eras Tour, and I saw her in concert, and she sang I Miss You, I'm Sorry on the piano. And she's coming out with a new album soon. I think it's called The Secret of Us. And she has a Taylor Swift feature on the album. The song is called Us. But I want to talk about specifically how tomorrow she's releasing a song called Close to You. Now, if you're an OG fan, you know this song has been in the vault for like 7 years. She played like a 20-second clip of it like years and years ago, and we've all been begging for it ever since. And she is finally giving it to us, you guys, and it's so good. It's so like, it's giving Lord. It's so like Lord energy. And I'm super excited. I think it's going to be one of the songs of the summer for sure. But that's coming out tomorrow. She actually just announced yesterday that she's going to do a release tomorrow. I guess tonight now. Tonight, okay, right now it's Thursday, June 6th. You guys are listening to this on Wednesday, June 12th. So that's exciting. Okay, so next release, Sabrina Carpenter also just announced a brand new album called Short and Sweet. And also tonight, I think she's releasing a song. It's called Please, Please, Please. And I'm super excited for that. Okay, if you don't know Sabrina Carpenter, her last album was Emails I Can't Send, and all her music videos for that album connected. Like, all the music videos to the singles, like, kind of connected in a way, which I love. I love, like, a good storytelling album, and I have a feeling that's what this one's going to kind of be. And I'm excited. I'm curious to see what the music video is like tonight, because the teaser clip of it is her, like, coming out of jail, and I'm pretty sure the end of Espresso, like, she gets arrested, so it's kind of leading into Please, 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 the next single. So I'm super excited for that. So those are my musical kind of releases this week. Okay, another thing I wanted to talk about, which I'm freaking out about, guys, literally, I woke up this morning, I pick up my phone, the first thing I see on my phone is Suzanne Collins announces new Hunger Games book. And it's about the 50th quarter quell. 50th Hunger Games, the second quarter quell. Guys, that's Haymitch's Games. And I'm pretty sure with Haymitch's Games, it was when there was like double the competitors. What do you call them? Tributes. So there was like 48 instead of 24, I think. What's it called? I think it's called the Sunrise of the something reaping. Let's look it up because I need to get that right. It's called Sunrise on the Reaping. The Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping. And then you guys, 20 minutes before I started recording this episode, The Hunger Games posts in theaters November 20th, 2026. So there's a movie already, like, in the works right now. I'm freaking out. Like, big day for book girlies, big day for 12-year-old me, big day for dystopian fanatics, okay? Suzanne just knew what we wanted. She knew what we needed, and she delivered. So I'm super excited for that. That's, okay. So that's the releasing. So now we're going to do playing and watching. I kept this one kind of the same from what it normally is in a weekly report. So watching recently, Sex and the City, I just last night finished my second watch through all the way. And I sobbed in the last episode. Like, spoiler, if you haven't seen Sex and the City, spoiler. I just sobbed when Charlotte and what's his name, Danny, found out that they were getting a child. Like, it was so sweet. And every time I rewatch the show, I'm like, okay, I think I like Big a little bit better. Even though Carrie and Big are just so toxic, every time I watch the show, I'm like, oh, like, but I love them together, I think I can relate to Carrie in a way where I keep going back to, like, toxic exes, so I don't know. If you guys had to pick which Sex and the City character, which one would you be? I feel like I'm a mix between Carrie and Samantha. Let me know. Okay, next on playing and watching, I'm playing music-wise a rotation of Chappell Roan, Gracie Abrams, Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, the usual. Like, it's the usual lineup, You don't need to hear about that. You know the lineup. Actually, I guess you don't. This is your first time meeting me. This is your first time seeing me talk at all. Then you probably are like, what is this girl talking about? No, I have no clue what you like. Okay, we're gonna get into 10 things about me later. Just let me do my report real quick. So that's the lineup right now. That's what I'm listening to, with the occasional, like, 21 Pilots. You guys are gonna think I'm so weird. we'll get into that later. Okay. So, okay, another thing watching Bridgerton season 3. Moment of silence for the looks that were served. Thank you. Here's my thing. I wish, first of all, Colin Bridgerton, I love you. And I just love you so much. And you are the perfect man. And you're so respectful and kind. And I just wish you would waltz into my life. Maybe I should start going undercover as Penelope Featherington. Okay. Imagine though in real life, like someone just, that's almost like a burner account. Just like what Penelope does, like, or Lady Whistledown. That's what I meant. Imagine just like a burner account called Lady Whistledown, and she just, you get the gist. You get what I'm trying to say. If that ever happens, turn your eyes. It's not me, but it could be. But it's not. But it could be. Okay. Yeah, Bridgerton season 3, I'm obsessing over that right now. I'm pretty sure when you guys are listening to this, it'll be tomorrow that the new season, or the second half of the 3rd season comes out. Which, I don't know why they didn't just give us an 8-episode season altogether, but I think it just adds to the suspense, because I will say with Penelope and Colin's story, I feel like it would be wrong for them to give it to us all at once. I feel like they do need to give us like, okay, he got the girl, now wait till he finds out about her secret. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm super excited for that. I definitely think we should all go back to dressing like how they did those days. Let me know if you agree, because I would love to just show up to work or like to dinner in one of those fancy ballroom dresses. So, all right, after playing and watching comes obsessing, which I also left that one the same because like it's essential, obsessing. Currently, I'm obsessing over Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I just finished that book on vacation, and it was so good. It was my first 5-star read in a long time. Well, that's not true. The entire Throne of Glass series I just finished not too long ago. That whole series is a 5-star, but it's the first, like, contemporary romance I've rated a 5-star in a long time. So I'm just, like, obsessed. I had never read anything by Elsie Silver. I didn't know if you could read the Rose Hill series before the Chestnut Spring series, which is right here. We'll talk about this in a second. This is the Chestnut Spring series. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, I'm holding up my book Flawless by Elsie Silver. It's from the Chestnut Spring series. Take a shot every time I just said Chestnut Springs. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm still obsessing over, you know, a book is good and it's a 5-star and it truly deserves a 5-star when you cannot stop thinking about it after. Like, I think I've thought about Ford and what's her name? Oh my God, what's her name? Rosie? Wait, what is her name? Okay, apparently it's not that memorable since I can't remember the girl's name, but I haven't been able to stop thinking about Ford Grant, if that counts. He's the male main character in the story. No, but seriously, their love was just so cute and so pure, and they had like a kid in the mix in this book, which I love. It's not their kid together, but like he had a kid that just showed up on his doorstep that he never knew he had, and I kind of love the tropes when they just like throw in a kid, and I don't know, I just think it's funny. I love reading about two people coming together and then they're like taking care of this kid together. They never expected it. It wasn't supposed to happen. You get the gist. Yeah, so obsessing over Elsie Silver, also obsessing over Throne of Glass still. I'm still not over that. I don't think I'll ever truly be over Throne of Glass, but that's what you get when you read anything by Sarah J. Maas. You're completely immersed into that experience for the rest of your life, and there's truly no turning back. I don't know, let's just say not a day goes by where I'm not thinking about Rowan and Aelin or Dorian, Manon, everyone. Gabriel. Yeah, okay. Anyways, obsessing. Honestly, I've really been obsessing about planning this podcast and doing all the content for it and just getting everything ready, getting my YouTube channel set up, getting the Instagram set up, doing my little announcement post with the air date and everything, which by the way, I don't think I mentioned in my Instagram post, but obviously upload days will be Wednesdays at 6 a.m. always. I'm an early riser. I always have been. So 6 a.m. I thought was a perfect time for me. I'm not going to release at midnight because like that just doesn't really make sense for my lifestyle, and this podcast is personal to me. So anyway, drink break. Here we go. ASMR again, part 2. Okay. After obsessing, we have reading. Did I skip one? Oh my god, you guys, I skipped one. Okay, let's go back a little. So after releasing, I was supposed to do experiencing. So for experiencing, which is another one that I made up, I added to my own rotation of a weekly report. This one is going to be kind of like, okay, what feelings am I experiencing right now? Or this one could also go 2 ways. Okay, so what feelings am I experiencing this week? What kind of stuff, what am I going through? But also, what in life am I experiencing? So that could also be it. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about, I've been experiencing feelings of imposter syndrome and sort of self-doubt about the podcast. I can't even tell you how many times I scrapped an episode because I felt like it just wasn't perfect for you guys, but I had to really get it through my head that it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be exactly how you want it. There's going to be pauses, there's going to be breaks, there's going to be times where I have to stop recording for a second to take a deep breath, and that's okay. There's also going to be plenty of times when I have to blow my nose, because if you know me, you know I'm a all around the year allergy girl. So that's just how it's going to be. That's the reality of things, and that's okay. And I had to just remind myself that it's not that deep, and this is supposed to be a safe, fun place for me to heal as I film these episodes, and for you guys to come and just get a break from the world around us, you know? So that's just a little bit of that's just a little bit of what I've been experiencing lately. Just a lot of nerves, but also a lot of excitement. I've been so excited for this podcast. So, okay, so it'll go releasing, experiencing, playing, watching. It'll go obsessing, then reading. Okay, guys, reading. Now's the time when I can bring out my beautiful little book right here that's next to me on the chair. This is my guest for the week, actually, because she's sitting here in my guest chair. Okay. Currently, I'm reading Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is a part of the Chestnut Spring series. It is set in a small town, kind of like mountain town, and there's a lot of cowboys, a lot of bull riders, lots of fun. So the main character in this is a bull rider, and he just recently had a scandal. So his manager's daughter comes in and kind of helps him as a publicist, but she's like a live-in like publicist. So she is basically traveling with him everywhere to all his shows, all his tournaments. And you guessed it, they start to get feelings for each other. It's a pretty spicy one. I will say, you guys, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this book at the end of it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I probably have like 70 more pages. I'm really far into it. It was a slower read for me. I've been having a really hard time getting back into reading after Wild Love, because Wild Love was so good. Even though they're by the same author, I really liked Wild Love so much, and I feel like this one is not gonna be as good to me. I don't know. We'll have to see. But so far, this one is probably I can feel it being a 3-star already, which is fine. A 3-star is still good. A 3-star is, I would still recommend a book to somebody at a 3-star. But for me, okay, if you don't want to hear about smut or like, if you don't want to hear about the sexy time in this book, go ahead and skip this part, because I don't want to spoil anything, but I also, if you're uncomfortable, skip it, whatever. But in this book, the sex scenes are just so like cringy. Like, I don't like when the guys in the books are like using like really graphic words. Hopefully you get the vibe that I'm putting down, because it's just, every line I read, I'm like, ugh, why'd he say that? Like, he could have said something way better. I don't know. Guys, hopefully you get what I'm putting down, because I just can't explain it any further than that on here. But that's what I'm currently reading. I also, last night on my walk, I had an Audible credit, and I decided to download Taming 7 by Chloe Walsh, which is part of the Boys of Tommen series that's set in Ireland. And it's Gibbsy and Claire's book, which I'm super excited about. So I had just read like a couple chapters while I was on my walk last night. But I mainly do audiobooks because my commute to work is like 30 minutes away. But I don't really know how often I'm going to be listening to that. So for now, my main goal is trying to finish Flawless by Elsie Silver, because, again, I'm in kind of a huge book slump right now, and I'm just trying to get through it as best I can. I'm not forcing myself to read. I'm only reading when I truly feel like it, which is the best way to go and how you should always do it. You should never feel pressured to read when you don't want to just because you want to meet your reading goal. So anyways, which by the way, my reading goal for this year is 50. I think Flawless is going to be book 20 of the year, which is super exciting. Getting close to halfway. I'm kind of hoping I'll surpass 50, but we'll see. I'm not going to try to go above and beyond before I even finish 50. So, okay. Lastly, treating, which is a normal weekly report prompt. So treating, obviously I've been treating myself to one too many Urban Grounds drinks from their summer menu. This is my third time going to Urban Grounds this week, and I really don't feel bad about it, to be honest. After the doctor's office this morning, I was like, okay, I'm going to Urban Grounds. Like, there's just no way I'm not going to. All right, that was my weekly report. Like I said, I changed up a few of the things on there because I wanted it to feel more personal to me, and I wanted it to kind of also weave into vibes of and themes of mental health awareness, which is why I included the releasing and the experiencing. I want to be able to get into my feelings a little bit. Because we are going to be talking a lot about mental health awareness on here. I think it's really important. I think it's really healthy to do so as well. And I want these podcasts to be healing for me as I record them, but I also want them to be healing for you as you listen. And hopefully you can pick up some tips and tricks from me as someone who struggles with anxiety and depression. Okay. Other than that, I want to move on and talk a little bit about why I decided to start the podcast. So, backstory. I have lunch with my dad. I try to do it every week. It doesn't normally happen. It ends up being every other week or less than that. But when we do have lunch, it's mainly to just talk about, okay, what are my passion projects I'm working on right now? What's been my plan this week? And I try not so much to think about, okay, what's my plan for the future? And instead just think, okay, what's my plan for the next month? What's my plan for the next 3 months? What's my plan for the next half year? And so on, because it can get overwhelming kind of looking at your life in that big of a perspective. So that's typically what we get together and talk about when we do have lunch. This one lunch though, this was about a month ago. My dad and I were talking about a business that I possibly wanted to start, and I just wasn't getting that excited about it while I was talking about it. And I think he noticed that, and we started talking about, I think I brought up me being on my friend's podcast a couple months ago, our non-toxic podcast. Go check them out. Hannah had me on, and she asked me, she said, weren't you going to start a podcast? And fun fact, I was. I was going to start a podcast about 7 months ago, I think. And I remember I made the whole Instagram for it and everything, and it just never happened because I took on too many passion projects at once, and I couldn't pick one single thing to focus and put all my energy into. So that one kind of got abandoned and pushed to the back burner for a little while. So when my dad, when I brought up this episode, he was like, well, why aren't you doing a podcast then? And I was like, oh my God, you're absolutely right. Why am I not? That's the question, Michael. I don't know. So we started talking about it. We started talking about the podcast, and you can hear me getting more excited, and you can hear me just ideas flowing. And I'm like, oh, this is when you know. This is when you know something is for you, because you can't stop talking about it and you can't stop planning for it. And once you know something is for you, it all comes easy to you. And of course, it's still going to be difficult. You're still going to face challenges, but I think that once you find a true passion, it becomes so easy to create. And I don't know, I just think I already have my blog, which if you don't know, I started a blog a couple years ago. It was called Love Letters from Lakyn, and it's still up. It's still there. You can still go back and read all my old blog posts. I just kind of slowed down on it for a bit because I've been putting my words into other things like poetry and writing that I don't necessarily want to share just yet. Wink, if you're listening, you can't tell that I'm winking. So the podcast was a different type of outlet that I could put my words to, and it was a medium that I've never tried before. I mean, I've been a guest on a podcast, And my best friend and I, Kennedy, we had a podcast in our senior year of high school, but it was never anything super serious. And we only recorded a few episodes, me and her together. Anyways, I'm getting off track here, which is totally fine. That's going to happen here. Prepare for it. I have ADHD brain. But I just felt like this would be I felt good about this in my bones, and I still do, and I'm really excited about it. So bear with me as we get started here, but it's going to be fun. All right, we need to move on. So I wanted to give you guys, this is our first date, you and I, okay? This is our first date. So before you get any other love letters from me, you got to get to know me, and I got to get to know you. So we're going to go over 10 things. I think I wrote down 10 things about me that are just like important, but also like minuscule little details about my life. And I feel like they're important to know with you being here. But you're not going to know the deep, dark details yet because, again, it's only our first date. All right, you guys. Number 1, I am 21 years old. I live in Springfield, Missouri, and I am a college dropout. That is the number 1 thing you got to know about me. I dropped out of college, and I'll tell you why. Which, by the way, I used to be ashamed of saying that. I'm really unashamed now, and I'm proud of it. So here's the deal. I graduated high school with plans to attend Missouri State University as an elementary education major. I've worked with kids my whole life. I still do to this day. And I was like, you know what? I'll just be a teacher. And I'll just get married to someone who has a lot of money. Whatever. And I still would love to be a teacher. And I still kind of am with the job that I do. But it's not a full-time thing. And I'm not going through school for it anymore. What happened is I went through my first full year of college, and it was fine, but I wasn't on fire for it anymore. I wasn't on fire for the teaching jobs. I wasn't on fire for the classes I was taking. I didn't feel like I was in the right place. And everyone else seemed so excited about it, and I just wasn't excited anymore. And I think when you don't feel excited about something anymore, that's your sign to leave. I mean, if it's salvageable, of course, salvage it, but you know what I mean. So I ended up taking a gap semester, and at this point, which we'll get into this in another episode, but gap semester, let's just say it wasn't good. I fell into a really dark place. I decided to go back to school the following year as a journalism major because I love to write, and even this type of thing, this podcast thing kind of ties into that. But again, I found myself, I only did a semester of journalism school. I found I did not like it as much as I thought I would. So that's when I sat down with my dad and I was like, Dad, I really don't think school's for me. And he said, you know what? I don't either. That's okay. And he didn't mean it in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like, I just have always had the more right side of the brain, the more creative side. I was never knowledgeable to the book. I was never really book smart, but more intelligent and creative ways. And I've just always been that way. I've always been thinking and creating in my head and a lover of art and music and all things creation and emotional. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. School is not for me and I'm unashamed. That's just one thing you should know about me. Right now, I'm just working and pursuing passion projects and doing what I love. Truly. I'm doing the things that I love, that I know will bring me a fruitful life. Okay, number 2, I have a black cat named Toby. I rescued him off the streets, okay? About a year and a half ago, my friend who lived at an apartment next to mine found Toby outside of his apartment meowing. And he was like, do you want this cat? And I was like, oh my God, yes. And for some reason, because here's the thing, you guys, I'm allergic to cats. I always have been. I don't think I'm allergic to Toby though. And I know that sounds crazy, but I genuinely think I am immune to Toby. Maybe it's because he's an inside cat and he doesn't go outside, so he never gets pollen on him. But I don't know, you guys. Toby is my baby. He's about a year and a half now that he's been mine, and I love him so much. He's a little crazy at times, but I truly think that cat saved my life because he came at the time when I was in that gap semester, and I really needed him. So, okay, number 3, I'm extremely passionate about art, about all the ways you can express art, all the ways you can express emotion. I'm just so passionate about having a passion. I'm so passionate about doing things that make your heart happy. And I actually saw this thing last night that was like, oh, I'm an amateur like painter or something. And someone was like, why do we treat amateur as like a negative thing? Because amateur, I think it comes from the word amour or something, which means love. And it's like to do something because you love it, regardless if you're bad at it or not. And I loved that so much. I think we're all amateurs in something, and I think everyone should be an amateur at something. I think everyone should do something just because they love doing it, not necessarily because it's their whole life or because they have to, but because they want to, because they love it. So yeah, I just love art. I do. I love any way you can express it, and I love words, and I love writing, and I love reading, and I love books so much, and that all just ties into it. But I could go on about passion forever, so we're just gonna move on to number 4. Oh, this one kind of ties in. Insanely huge book lover. That's what I wrote. Okay, but seriously, the book characters and the book universes that I have immersed myself into, I never stop thinking about them. And it's like that Taylor Swift song, I Hate It Here from Tortured Poets Department. She says, I hate it here, so I'll go to Secret Gardens in my mind. And that's just, I remember that hitting me so hard. I related to it so much because truly the book community in general, like, that's what we're doing. You know, we're reading because it's enjoyable, but we're also reading because it just takes us to this whole new world, and it's so beautiful and it's so fun to see how a writer and an author could create an entire universe just in a corner of their mind. And it blows my mind. I'm obsessed with books. We're going to be talking a lot about books on here, and I'm sorry, not sorry. If you don't like that, you might as well just leave now because it's going to be a hot topic. I'll tell you that. Number 5. Okay. I consider myself an amateur poet. Like we were just talking about amateurs. I'm actually working on putting together a collection of my own essays and poems to hopefully publish them as a book one day, which is super exciting, and I'm so excited to be able to say that. It's going to be a long time coming. Like, there's always words flowing from me just on random days and random nights and random 3 a.m.s and random car rides where I'm literally putting in a voice memo of a poem or something that's in my head. It's going to be a long time coming because I have a lot to say, and I need to be able to organize it in a way that makes sense and kind of put them all together. I don't know, but I enjoy writing a lot. If you've been here since my blog, you know that. I love to be able to relate to people and have people relate to me through words. I think it's one of the most beautiful things that you can do is to relate with words and art and creation. So that's another really important thing about me. Okay, number 6 for me, this is an interesting one. So I personally loved high school. And I know that's might be a little bit controversial, but I found 2 of my best friends in high school, Kennedy and Brittany, and I even live with Brittany now. And Kennedy has continued to be my best friend since the day we met. Kennedy and I actually met when we were like 11 or 12, but we'll get into that in another episode. Wink. The teachers that I had, I credit them so much with my growth that I've had as a person today. Truly, like some of the teachers I had the pleasure of being in their classrooms changed my life for the better. And that is why I really enjoyed high school, and I will never forget my high school teachers, specifically Miss Fleetwood and Mr. Edwards and Mr. Glenn. I love you guys. If you're somehow listening to this, you guys truly changed my life, and you opened up a whole new world of creativity and passion for me, and I'm forever grateful to you, forever in debt of all the love you showed me and the nurture you gave me. I love you guys so much. I could talk about them forever, on and on and on. Wow, maybe I could get one of them on the pod. That would be really fun. Okay, number 7. I'm a trained morning person. Trained, okay? Because for the last 4 years, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. for my job. But now I love mornings, and I just naturally wake up early on my own. I love mornings. I think they're so innocent. I think the first hour that you wake up, everything is just a little lighter. You're not, like, when you first wake up, like, you know how there's, like, that minute or, like, even 30 seconds where it's like, nothing's wrong. Like, everything in my life is good. And then it hits you, and you're like, oh, my God, I have to do all this stuff today. Either way, I think mornings are so great. I think they're so blissful. My favorite thing to do on a Saturday morning is to wake up, brush my teeth, do my skincare, put on my comfy slippers, go make some breakfast, put the coffee on, come back into bed, turn on my favorite booktubers, and then I read a book along with them, and it's really cute and fun. And then of course scrolling social media. Like I'm not perfect, guys. I'm gonna scroll social media sometimes as soon as I wake up, which is totally fine. Anyway, number 8, my biggest goal in life. Okay. So this one, honestly, and I'm sure this is the same for everyone. Like you're gonna listen to me say this and you'll be like, well, duh, like, and like everybody wants that. But genuinely, my biggest goal in life is to find a comfortable place of contentness and peace. Duh, who wouldn't want that? Lakyn, I know, guys, I know. But seriously, like, I don't think it's a crime to all want the same thing in life. I think we all do, and that's peace. Some of us don't want peace, which is sad. But my biggest goal in life is to be happy and to know that every decision I made was for the better for me, not for anyone else, but that I made decisions for myself and that I followed my heart and that I did the things and pursued the things that truly, truly, truly made me happy. So that is really like my only goal in life at this point. Okay, number 9, I'm a huge music girly, you guys. This is a big one, but specifically pop music. My pop girls are my entire life. And here's why this is so important to me and to my lore, okay? Because my entire life growing up, I was made fun of every single day for loving Taylor Swift. And you think, oh wow, that's still happening today. Yeah, it is. It is still happening today. Isn't that weird? Isn't that so weird how that's still happening today? Because why do you care what makes somebody else happy? And I could go on and on about that forever. And you know what? Maybe I'll even do another episode about that. But why do you care? I love Taylor. I've loved her for over a decade, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep supporting all my pop girls because they deserve it. And I just love when women exist. Period. That's all. I love when women exist, and I love when they get the recognition they deserve. So with that being said, some of my favorite pop girlies: Chappell Roan, Taylor Swift, Gracie Abrams, Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, Billie Eilish, Lynn and Stella. Lynn is, I wouldn't say she's like super mainstream pop though. She has a unique sound to her. I love her so much. But you know, also this kind of leads into like, I love concerts, you guys. Oh my God, Madison Beer. Madison Beer is one of my favorite musical artists. I think she is so underrated. I've met her, by the way. She told me she loved my hair. That just brings me into like, I've been to so many concerts. Like, I've kind of been off my concert grind lately because money and like it's so expensive to go to concerts these days, especially, oh my God, Gracie is going on tour and I don't have a ticket and I'm so sad about it, but I genuinely just didn't have money to go on and buy a ticket that day. So maybe if some Nashville tickets sell around September, the date, I'll go. But right now it just wasn't a possibility. Luckily, I've already seen Sabrina. I actually saw her the day after my birthday a couple years ago on the emails I can't send to her, and we got like second row. We got to listen to soundcheck, and it was so much fun, you guys. She puts on such a performance. And by the way, let me just say I've been an OG Sabrina Carpenter stan ever since Can't Blame a Girl for Trying, her Disney Channel days, Middle is Starting Over, Singular Act 1 and 2, Evolution. I love my girl Sabrina, and I'm so proud of her and all her growth. Same with Gracie. I love all my small town, I guess, okay, Chappell Roan. She deserves everything she's gotten. All these ladies deserve everything they have, okay? I'm just gonna put that out there. A successful woman is successful because she did the work, okay? I'm gonna stop rambling about that. Number 10, this is an important one. This is gonna fit right into a lot of themes we'll be talking about on the podcast. I struggle with depression, anxiety, and ADHD. Woo! Those are my big three. On a daily basis. There is always a battle going up here. Always a battle going on in my mind. But that's okay, because once you learn to live alongside your depression, your anxiety, your whatever, to live alongside your diagnosis, everything gets a little easier because you learn to kind of take it by the reins and you're in charge of it, you know? You learn to be in charge of it. And some days, like, it does get the best of me. Some days I turn around and I let it put me on a leash. But that's just, one of the struggles that we face as people who struggle with mental health, and it's a whole learning process. Your entire battle is a learning process, and it's beautiful, it's dark, but it makes you stronger. It's made me stronger, and I'm not ashamed of what I struggle with. And that's definitely going to be a topic that we talk on here a lot about, because again, I find it so important to bring awareness to mental health and your well-being, guys. I mean, mental health is physical health. We'll get into that in another episode. But that just reminded me, what was I going to say? Dang it. I just remembered what I was going to say, guys. It's June. Happy freaking Pride Month. If you're out of the closet, if you're not out of the closet, if you're gay, bisexual, pansexual, transgender, whatever you are, I'm so proud of all of you. I love you so much, and you are welcome here. This is a safe space. And I love you so much. And I think you are powerful, and I think you've changed the world in so many great ways. And you're so welcome here. You're always welcome here. And I love you. Happy Pride. Oh my God. Happy Pride. Okay. So we're done with the 10 things about me. But I did want to add a little extra fun fact about me. So I used to have an insane 21 Pilots obsession. And when I say insane, I mean I dyed my hair blue in 8th grade. We were chokers every day. Brittany and I and Reagan and I would write their little symbols on our hands every single day. We'd have lyrics on our hands and our arms. And I would read fan fiction of them. You guys, okay, think of a One Directioner, back in the days, we're reading fan fiction, Your Name, all that. But that with 21 Pilots. And also the fan fictions where Tyler and Josh are in love. We were such creeps. Why were we reading about that? And I'm just going to put this out there. Probably 0.1% of you know what the Forest fan fiction is, but if you do, just know I see you. I'm with you. That's all I'm going to say. Quote of the week is something that I kind of want to start doing on here. I was literally just on a whim, oh my God, I want to do quote of the week because I saw that Miley Cyrus just did this photo shoot and this interview for W Magazine. I don't know if it's called W Magazine or if they want it to be pronounced When Magazine. Let me know. It's just I think it's just a pop culture celebrity star magazine, but she just did an interview with them, and this is the quote that she said. Anyone who has ever put themselves in a position to be observed or judged is brave. And I just loved that so much, and I think it really hit me at this time with starting the podcast, because it is scary putting yourself out there, no matter what medium you're putting yourself out there. And if you're putting yourself in a place where you can be perceived, that's scary. That's scary as hell. And anyone who's ever taken a public speaking class knows that it's scary to be perceived. But I just love that she said that so much because, she's so big, and you probably think about her oh, she doesn't get nervous about what people think, but it's scary no matter what. It takes a lot of confidence to put yourself out there, no matter how long you've been doing it, whether you just started or not. It's really difficult, and this podcast is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I get to hide behind a screen a little bit. But I am excited for it, and I'm excited because I feel like I've been called just to speak to you guys on here. That sounded so lame, but I'm serious. I feel like this is something that I have been gravitating towards, and I'm just really glad I'm finally going for it. All right, you guys. We're about to wrap things up, but I do want to give you a little sneak peek about what you should... I do want to give you a little sneak peek about what you should expect on the upcoming episodes and what's going to be on this podcast. Lakyn, what am I in here for? What am I here for? What are you even going to talk about? Let me tell you. Okay, this podcast is for the girls and the gays, okay? Girlies and the gays. And, men, straight men, you're welcome too, but I'm not sure how much you'll love the content of this podcast, so just keep that in mind. It's going to get girly up in here. We're going to have a lot of book talk. We're going to have a lot of talks about album releases, music releases, movie releases. We might even talk about gaming because I'm a big gamer girl. I love me some Sims 4 and Animal Crossing, okay? But we're also going to talk a lot of self-care habits and self-love and just self-care rituals, and I'm huge on self-love in whatever form, and we'll dive into a whole episode about that and about my own little rituals that I like to partake in. But that's going to happen a lot here. We're going to talk a lot about mental health awareness, which I will warn you now, if there's an episode that contains a particularly heavy theme, I will put a trigger warning at the beginning of it so that you're not caught off guard and not triggered by it. So just putting that out there, little pre-trigger warning to the trigger warning, if you will. So there's going to be a lot of that. There will be some guests on here. I actually have a couple lined up already, so be excited for that. I'm super excited. Expect some giveaways, maybe. Yeah, just expect a lot of girl talk. We're all girls here. We're all just trying to get through life together, and this is a fun space where you can come and let loose, relax a little bit, take your mind off work, take your mind off something hard that's going on in your life, and just come hang out with me for a little bit. It'll be fun. So something that I want to ask you guys every week is when I was growing up, I kept a memory box all the time. I always kept a memory box. I put movie tickets in there. I put cross-country medals in there. I put bracelets in there. I put notes in there. I put love letters in there. So what I want to ask you guys every week is, what is a memory you're putting in your memory box this week? And for me, that's going to be, in my memory box this week, I honestly think I'm going to just mentally take a picture of my face from whenever I saw the Hunger Games new book announcement and just place that in my memory box, because that is priceless. When I tell you guys, if I wasn't in the car, I would have fallen to the floor. So if you guys listen to this episode all the way through, I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for taking a chance on me. I hope you stick around for a while. We're going to have some fun. But also, if you listen to the whole episode all the way through, I want you to go on my most recent Instagram post on the Love Letters from Lakyn Instagram and comment what memory you're putting in your box this week. All right, make sure you guys follow me on Love Letters from Lakyn on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok. Also go ahead and follow my personal at Lakyn Olmstead on all those platforms. And you can also follow my Bookstagram at Lakyn Loves Word on Instagram. And this has been a love letter from Lakyn. Thank you guys. Bye.